Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Yardley, Pennsylvania, live streaming to the world from the heart of Yardley, their annual Memorial Day ceremony. Good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Redner, along with our technical advisor and technical producer of WBCB programming, Brianne O'Neill, and we're proud to bring you this morning's ceremonies from here in Yardley. Today's events are being brought to you in part by the Johnson Chiropractic Center at 175 South Main Street in Yardley. Nottingham Insurance, family owned and run, independent insurance agency, all types of insurance. By Kramer's Bakery, established in 1946, baked fresh daily, open 7 days at 16 East Afton Avenue in Yardley. Also, today's solemn ceremony is brought to you by Yardley Jewelers, a jewelry repair workshop and world-class designer jeweler. Also, Yardley Family Haircutters, Dave Wells, proprietor, full-service barbershop. FZ Works, a great event space for business or social. fzworks.space at 215-493-3160. Today's special events from here in Yardley are also brought to you by Ship and Print at 25 South Main Street in Yardley, and also in the Big Oak Shopping Center at the Yardley's Complete Printing and Shipping Services, and by Millie's Restaurant at 75 South Main Street in Yardley. Today's ceremonies are being brought to you by these fine folks, and our welcoming address here this morning, and our Master of Ceremonies is VFW Commander Kirk M. Sabota. So we're here on a beautiful morning in Yardley, and let's also give thanks to the nice weather, and also mention who our Poppy Queens are today. The readers of the Flanders Field and introduction of the Poppy Queens is Stephanie Tarantino, Esquire. Also, Charlotte Carver is one of our Poppy Queens here this morning, along with Emma Sabota. And also, we have our salute to fallen comrades and rifle volleys and the VFW and AL Rifle Squad here this morning. And it is just a beautiful morning to really give the true meaning of what Memorial Day is all about. And we're so proud to be able to video stream this great event live to the world for about the fourth or fifth consecutive year, and it's just an honor to be here. You are watching this either at WBCB1490.com or on YouTube.com/ at WBCB1490. So as we get ready to have this great ceremony, some of the distinguished guests here today are the Reverend Dr. Douglas Hoagland, and of course our Yardley Mayor, Chris Harding, who does a monthly show along with our Chief of Police, the third Tuesdays of every month from 1 till 3 p.m. You can hear them right here on WBCB 1490 AM. Also our Yardley Borough Manager, Paula Johnson, Yardley Council President, Caroline Thompson, and of course our Yardley Chief of Police, Joseph Kelly, amongst the honored guests here this morning. And of course our assembled veterans as well, because that is the reason why we are here, is to honor people who gave their lives, and also people who participated in wars to make this country as great as it is. And this is the true meaning of Memorial Day. Also, of course, later on down Main Street will be the annual Yardley Memorial Day Parade, which starts at Dolington Road and concludes at the Legion. So now we're going to go to the podium, and our Master of Ceremonies, Kirk M. Sabota.
As I pause for dramatic effect for the flag team to finish. Welcome to the Yardley Memorial Day ceremony for 2024. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. This is a very important day for veterans, for their families, for those that were left behind. My name is Kirk Sabota. I'm the commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 6393 in Yardley, Lower Makefield, and it is my honor to host this ceremony. Again, as a warning, there will be rifle fire during this ceremony. My comrades and I thank Yardley Mayor Chris Harding, Borough Manager Paula Johnson, Yardley Borough Police Chief Joseph Kelly, Emergency Manager Wes Farker for their welcome and support. We also thank the members of both the VFW and the American Legion that represent this community. We thank the Sons of the American Legion Post 317 with their commander Jeff Chamberlain, the VFW and American Legion Auxiliary units, which are led respectively by Sandy Johnson and Deanna Fresia, the Guardians of Washington Crossing National Cemetery Honor Guard, led by Robert Craven, members of the New Jersey Civil Air Patrol, led by Major Mary Beth Williams and Second Lieutenant Robert McKellen, and the Pennsbury Junior ROTC, led by U.S. Air Force retired Major James McElern and U.S. Air Force retired Sergeant Shannon Lynch. Distinguished guests joining us today include Reverend Dr. Douglas Hoagland, our keynote speaker, Captain James Kirkland Tolbert, United States Navy, Yardley Mayor Chris Harding, Yardley Manager Paula Johnson, the attending Borough Council members, Yardley Chief of Police Joseph Kelly, and representing the Lower Makefield Township Supervisors, John Lewis. Please forgive me for anyone I've not mentioned in that list. It is now my pleasure to invite Reverend Hoagland of Woodside Presbyterian Church to present our opening prayer. Doug is an anchor to our community, and he's gathered followers from our neighborhood and has built a well-integrated church that serves the needy here and abroad. He is both a gifted man and a loving man, and he inspires us all to be better people. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Reverend Douglas Hoagland.
Will you join me in a word of prayer?
Uncover.
Heavenly Father, we gather this day to remember those who served our country, who advanced the cause of liberty, who made the ultimate sacrifice. They are more than just a name carved on a monument, a picture on the mantle, or a fading newspaper clipping. They are our forebears, our parents, our siblings, our spouses, our children, our family, our friends. We can never forget them or what they did to give us lasting freedom. We wish they were standing by our side today, but we know that because they took a stand for equality, freedom, and justice, our nation stands today. Help us, dear Lord, to follow their selfless example. Strengthen us with your Spirit so that we may rise up and be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We pray this in your strong name. Amen.
Cover.
Next is the pledge. To begin our ceremony, we would ask all to do so. Please rise, face the flag of our nation. And present the proper salute. Please join me.
Present arm. Present. Quarter. Arm. Present. Quarter. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Quarter. Arm. Quarter. Arm. Quarter. Arm. Quarter.
Joining us today is singer Marge Swider. Marge is a vocalist and stage entertainer. She is a member of the St. Michael's of the Archangel Choir and has been part of this ceremony since 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Marge Swider.
Oh, sing, can you sing by the dawn's early light what so proudly we
Thank you, Mrs. Swider. Joining us next is Yardley Mayor Chris Harding, who will express some thoughts about Memorial Day. Mayor Harding is serving in his third term and his 11th year as mayor of the borough. He is a strong supporter of our community, a credit to the borough government, and a supporter of the community and veterans' concerns for the community. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mayor Harding.
Commander, members of the American Legion, members of the VFW, veterans, emergency service providers, including our Yardley Borough Police Department, Yardley Borough residents, friends, family, and honored guests. As always, I am sincerely grateful for the opportunity to speak before you today. On behalf of the President of the United States and a grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service. Those are the words spoken to our military families as they begin a journey of excruciating pain and loss. Families who've experienced life-changing trauma of the death of a loved one in service to our country. The family gets an American flag, folded following military guidelines, in exchange for a life sacrifice. Not only the life of a soldier, a patriot, but the life of a father or mother, a son or daughter, a brother or sister. Tragically, a life extinguished, but not in vain. We gather today because sadly, as we have focused on in previous years, a soldier can die two deaths. First, there is the physical death, so painful in the personal loss. But a lost soldier's second death comes in the form of a community which has forgotten when we stop speaking of them, when we stop remembering them, stop sharing their story, stop celebrating their life and monumental achievements. When we no longer grieve their loss, and even more importantly, no longer honor their sacrifice. The borough of Yardley and its surrounding community, all of us gathered here today, are loudly proclaiming to these valiant warriors, we will not let that happen. We will not let you be forgotten. We will not forget you and the sacrifice you made to protect the freedoms we celebrate each and every day, the rights and liberties that you died protecting, so that we may live productive and meaningful lives. I admit I have never had that very personal, perhaps difficult conversation with a soldier or veteran about what it takes to be willing to put one's life on the line, and the mental strength and true belief and conviction that making a decision like this must take. But maybe, with the proud group of accomplished veterans we have here today with us, that opportunity might arise. I believe that when I have that conversation, words and phrases like honor, love of country, protection of family, sacrifice, duty, doing the right thing would be mentioned in most of their answers. So maybe it's not nearly as simple as offering a life for a flag. Maybe if we think about it, it's the other way around. A flag in representation of a hero's sacrifice. This crisply folded American flag is the way we keep them with us, so that the core values they manifested, values that make up the best of our best, envelop each one of us in the hope that through their sacrifice, we are given the opportunity to recognize the absolute passion and commitment that coursed through their veins. we in turn are presented with a moment of decision where we can become better humans, mirroring their best qualities and letting those qualities influence who we are and who we choose to become. If this core experience is truly recognized amongst us today, then these heroes are with us still, today. Each and every soldier that made the ultimate sacrifice, their spirit floats among us. In the wind that blows, the rain that falls, in the singing choir of the birds flying above, and in the laughter of the children who are blessed with the innocence of youth and the gift of freedom, still shielded from the reality of death, sacrifice, and loss that the gift has required. So, to those spirits amongst us here today, here by our side, we say, we will never forget you. We will never stop sharing your stories, and we will never stop honoring your courage. And to the soldiers physically here with us today, we thank you for selflessly accepting the same potential fate, and we say grateful prayers that you are able to be here with us. And this is why we joined you today in the early morning hours as you carried out your rifle salutes to honor your dead, to never forget. And this is why we gather at this monument, surrounded by those who have pledged to always remember and looked over by those who we recognize and remember today. And this is why we will come together as a larger community in a few hours and reflect upon those who can no longer join us, those who were never able to come home. We do this all to honor their sacrifice, for it is our folded flag. It gives me great pride to stand before you today on this Memorial Day and assure you that as long as I am mayor of Yardley Borough, this community will continue to do everything in its power to honor our veterans and their families and to never forget their sacrifices. With observances like Carry the Load and today's Memorial Day activities, we will ensure that everyone recognizes the ultimate sacrifice so many of our soldiers have made to protect and guarantee the American freedoms we enjoy today and every day. And I challenge each and every one of you here this morning to join me in the effort to make today's Memorial Day a day like no other. A day where, as a community, Yardley Borough makes a promise that no American hero, not one, will ever give their life without our acknowledgement of their sacrifices and our acknowledgement of the devastating loss to their loved ones are tragically forced to endure. They fought, battled, and died so we can live. But we know they still walk among us in our thoughts, in our prayers, in our dreams, and in our nightmares, in our stories, and forever in our hearts. And today, as they join us in spirit, we gather with them to honor and speak their names so they will never be forgotten. Thank you, and may God bless all the amazing men and women of our armed forces, and may God bless America.
Thank you, Mayor Harding. As I said earlier, I'm the commander of the VFW post here in Yardley. I've just been elected to my third year. I originally wasn't going to share any of my thoughts personally. As the officiator, I didn't feel I needed to. But two things struck my mind as we were driving around from cemetery to cemetery to render those honors that the mayor spoke of. One is, I thought about a friend of mine whose father was killed in Vietnam. He was less than a year old when his father died. He never met his father. And he posted just this morning on Facebook a picture of him holding his newborn son up to the wall. His son's now graduating from high school, rather. So it was a while ago, 18 years ago, probably. And it made me think, really hard about what is Memorial Day about. He died far away. He died in an operation that wasn't even recognized by the United States government until the late 80s. But he died. He showed up and he died. That's a grandson who will never know his grandfather. That's a son who will never know his father. And it could have been a daughter, it could have been anything. And it's that loss, like the mayor was talking about, those unintended consequences, those ripples in the waves that we often forget about. Because life moves on and we think about the present tense and we live in the present tense. And a day like today is a day where you can look back and reflect on those people who did pay the ultimate sacrifice. The other part of it is a little less somber. And so I apologize in advance if someone finds this offensive. But to sit in that vehicle with those 12 or 15 veterans who were driving around in the rifle team behind me and the detail and a few leaders and a couple like the mayor and a couple other representatives, while we were in the car and while we were not under the eyes of those who would witness us, we broke into stories and we talked and we laughed. And my father, who was a World War II veteran and lost a lot of his friends on Peleliu and Okinawa, used to always say, I best remember my friends by living my life to the best of my ability. And those laughs I heard from these shooters behind me and those jokes they made, Army versus Navy, Marine Corps, this, that, whatever, were a testament to those we've left behind. So, on a happy note, people who are lost are remembered as long as we choose to remember them. And that's what I will do until my last breath. Thank you. Next up, I'd like to introduce, there was no notes to that, so I apologize if I said something really dumb. I'm sure you'll tell me later. I'd like to introduce Commander Smith, the commander of the American Legion Post 317. Commander Smith served as in the United States Navy from 1984 to 1990. He achieved the rank of E5 storekeeper. Commander Smith served aboard the USS Proteus, the submarine tender, the ship I was on, by the way, and the USS Arthur Radford, DD 968, a Sperms-class destroyer, and at the Naval Air Development Center in Warminster. Ted has lived in Lower Mayfield and Yardley Borough for 10 years, and he's been an American Legion member since 1994. Ted is the proud father of 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Commander Ted Smith.
The dangers inherent with military service exist in every branch and every military occupation. Today we honor the more than 1 million men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation while serving in wars and missions since the American Revolution. As proud Americans, we should all remember that our freedom is not free. It is only possible because heroes, some from our own families or neighborhoods, have paid a high price. It is that price which enables us to have ceremonies and observance like this in towns across this great country. The first Memorial Day was not called Memorial Day. It was believed to have been celebrated with a parade of freed slaves and Union soldiers marching through Charleston, South Carolina in 1865. Waterloo, New York is considered the official birthplace of Memorial Day because after the town had held observances on May 5th, 1866, General John Murray and General John A. Logan called on all communities to honor the war dead every year. Logan had been impressed with how the South had honored Confederate soldiers for years. In 1868, Logan, who was the head of the prominent veterans group, the Grand Army of the Republic, issued a proclamation that Decoration Day be observed nationwide. The date chosen was May 30th, specifically because it was not on the anniversary of a battle. It was the day to honor fallen veterans of American wars. Even so, many communities did not want to observe Decoration Day because of the lingering resentments from the Civil War. The alternative name, Memorial Day, wasn't commonly used until World War II, a two-front fight against tyranny in which more than 400,000 American service members would die. Among those heroes were men singled out by President Ronald Reagan. As he stood at an outdoor lectern in Normandy, France, on June 6, 1984, President Reagan stated, "Behind me is the memorial that symbolizes the dangers that were thrust into the top of these cliffs. And before me are the men who put them there. These are the boys of Pont du Hoc. Those are the champions who helped free a continent. Those are the heroes who helped end a war." Many of the men rest in graves at Normandy American Cemetery. Others found peace in Arlington or in their hometown burial places. And many more survived the war and raised their families under peace and freedom that they and their brothers and sisters in arms fought so hard to achieve. In the American Legion preamble, we pledge to preserve the memories and incidents of our associations in all wars. We do so not to pat ourselves on the back and impress people with stories of our own military service. We know what we did, but we are witnesses. Veterans who have seen heroism in its purest form. Veterans who served alongside the very men and women that we remember here today. One such witness was Lou Connor. On April 1st, 2024, Lou passed away at the age of 102. He was the last survivor on the USS Arizona. During Pearl Harbor observances in 2020, Lou said to the American Legion, "We're not heroes. The 1,177 who went down with the ship, they're the heroes. You have to remember, we got to go home, get married, have children, grandchildren, and live a good life. Those who didn't get to do that should be called heroes." Lou's sentiment was undoubtedly influenced by his own humility, for he served heroically throughout his 26-year Navy career, but his larger point must be remembered. We are able to raise families, have careers, and live good lives because of the sacrifices made by the young men and women who came before us and never came home. We must always remember them. May they rest in peace. Thank you for being here today.
Next up is our keynote speaker. The United States is a maritime nation. The Navy protects America at sea. Its mission is to maintain, train, and equip combat-ready naval forces capable of winning wars, deterring aggression, and maintaining freedom of the seas. The United States Navy is unrivaled in all the world history as the greatest naval maritime fighting force. Our keynote speaker today is United States Captain James Tolbert, United States Navy. During his career, Captain Tolbert served on 5 naval vessels. He commanded 2 ships and was assigned as a Commodore to a 9-ship squadron during Operation Desert Storm. He graduated from the Naval Academy in June of '64. Captain Tolbert served for 28 years. He is a leader and inspiration and an asset to those whose worth cannot be overstated. During his sea tours, Captain Tolbert was assigned to USS Caliente, AO-53, a fleet oiler, and he supported Navy ships in the South China Sea during the Vietnam War. His first command at sea was the USNS Mount Baker, an ammunition ship with duty stations in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and the Indian Ocean. His second command was the USS Seattle, a fast combat support ship, the longest ship in her class, tasked and purpose and for rapid rearming and supply of naval battle groups at sea. Ashore, Captain Tolbert served as an instructor at the Naval Academy, Navy Recruiting Command, And it was at the Naval Recruiting Command where then Lieutenant Commander Tolbert was assigned the job of getting women into the Naval Academy. In 1972, he, along with Navy Admiral Johnson, testified before Congressman Lucius Mendel Rivers and the Armed Forces Committee and successfully formulated the adoption plan. In July of 1976, 81 women took the oath of admission. And in May of 1980, Elizabeth Ann Rowe became the first female class member to graduate from the United States Naval Academy. Jim had a part in that. Jim has earned a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and completed all the coursework required for a doctor's of education. He's a past member of the Rotary, an active member of the Naval Academy Alumni Association, and a member of the VFW in Yardley. Captain Tolbert also created the Class Memorial Scholarship Fund program for children of deceased Annapolis graduates. The fund has awarded 60 scholarships to eligible dependents. For his time in service, Captain Tolbert was awarded the Legion of Merit, the Meritorious Service Medal 3 awards, the Navy Commendation Medal, the Navy Achievement Medal, a Presidential Unit Citation, a Meritorious Unit Citation, the Navy Expeditionary Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, 4 awards of the Vietnam Service Medal, and 6 awards of a Sea Service Ribbon. He spent a lot of time at sea. And the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming United States Captain James Tolbert.
Distinguished guests, fellow veterans, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Memorial Day is one of the most important days of the year. As Americans, we show our deepest respect to all who have served our country by taking time to honor the fallen veterans. One of the best ways we can show that we value the sacrifice is to remember and support their sacrifice for our freedom. We can also remember and support the countless veterans and service members who still need our help today. Since the founding of our great nation, more than 1.4 million service members have given their lives in defense of liberty and justice. I often think of these lives tragically cut short and the grieving families left behind. I want to do more than remember. I want to take action. Memorial Day is an occasion for both grief and celebration, reflecting on the tragic loss of life and recounting the courageousness of military service. For those who have served, the day holds the utmost significance while giving our country the opportunity to pay tribute and remember the lives that have been lost in the defense of our nation. On June 6, 1944, the first wave of Allied forces swarmed the heavily fortified beaches of German-occupied Normandy, and the invasion known as D-Day began. On that day, more than 4,400 Allied troops were killed, including more than 2,500 Americans. This event, unprecedented in scale, shifted the course of World War II and history itself. As we prepare to commemorate the 80th anniversary of this operation, let us remember that the remaining survivors of this battle and war, some of whom were teenagers at the time, are all now approaching or have passed 100 years old. Their bravery and heroism on the beaches of Normandy is the stuff of legend. Their selfless desire to serve and willingness to sacrifice their lives to defend our nation is a debt we can never repay. On this Memorial Day, we honor all service members who have lost their lives, but this year, let's keep our World War II veterans in our hearts and minds. As their numbers dwindle, it is up to us to capture and tell their stories and ensure that their memories live on. For DAV member, Navy veteran, and D-Day survivor Richard Rum, this is something he has dedicated his life to and spoken publicly on quite often. Richard became professor of history at Wheaton College in Illinois after service and has continued to honor the memory of all who were lost during this battle by telling their stories. As a member of the Omaha Beach Landing, Richard vividly remembers his boat being hit by shells that killed 2 soldiers and wounded 2 others. The experience of cleaning the blood off the boats and witnessing the rows of bodies on the beach has forever been etched into his memory. For those who survived and have gone back to Normandy, the trips may have awakened painful memories, but have also often offered introspection, healing, and closure. During Richard's most recent return, he asked to be taken to the Normandy American Cemetery so he could quietly sit in the middle of the crosses and all those who were lost. We can only imagine the flood of memories and craving for solace that he experienced that day. This respect and admiration for the fallen is something we can all learn from. We should all take a moment to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, whether we visit a grave site or place flags, wreaths, or other mementos at memorials in our communities. There are so many ways we can honor their contributions. Today should not be the only occasion we remember them. By sharing their stories, we give others a glimpse of military service and hope that they carry that legacy with them to create a better world and a stronger nation. Duty, loyalty, courage. These are a few of the American values our fallen heroes lived by and died for. As a nation, we must remind ourselves of these values and do our best to try to live up to them ourselves. As President Dwight David Eisenhower said in his return to Normandy nearly 2 decades after D-Day, quote, "I devoutly hope that we will never again have to see such scenes as these. We must find some way to work and to gain an eternal peace for this world." End quote. Let's carry forward the legacy of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and commit to building a nation of strong, resilient communities that does not forget the past. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this ceremony. God bless those service members deployed today in harm's way, providing us the opportunity to enjoy this beautiful day in our great nation. God bless her through challenging times, and God bless each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Tolbert. We have a couple representatives of our elected officials who are here who want to recognize your contribution to today. So first up, I'd ask Kyle Melander, who's representing Representative Fitzpatrick, step forward.
So my name's Kyle. I'm here on behalf of Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. Unfortunately, the congressman was unable to make it today. Believe it or not, we have 41 ceremonies throughout our entire congressional district, so we're doing our best to cover as much ground as possible. But nonetheless, I'm honored to be here today on his behalf and join you all on this day of remembrance. Now, as Americans, I believe there's 4 days on the calendar that truly unite each and every one of us as Americans. In no particular order, I'd start with 4th of July, the day our freedom was declared. I'd say Thanksgiving would be second, the day we're thankful for our freedom. Third is Veterans Day, where we celebrate the veterans that stepped up to protect our freedoms. And of course, and why we're all here today, where we honor those veterans that paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Now, we're so lucky to live in the greatest country that God has ever created, a country that's done more good for more people than any other country ever has or any other country ever will. And this year, our country will be celebrating its 248th birthday. That may seem like it's been a long time, but it's really not. It's only just a few generations. And yet we're the world's oldest democracy. And democracy is under assault each and every single day. And it's because of the blood, sweat, and tears of our veterans that we're able to live in a free world. And also, I'll note that our freedoms were declared right down the road here in Philadelphia, but they were won on the banks of the Delaware. And if you just take a moment and think back to the original veterans, the ones that crossed Christmas night 1776, they left their homes, their families, their wives, their way of life on what was deemed a suicide mission. They didn't go for their self-worth, personal gain, or anything else like that. They went for a cause greater than themselves. So you and I, people that they would never know, can live in a free world. And many of those paid the ultimate sacrifice and never returned home. And that's who we honor here today. The men and women from then till now have stepped up to serve a cause greater than themselves that never returned home. So on behalf of the Congressman, I just want to say, God bless all those veterans that we lost. God bless all of our veterans, and God bless the United States of America. And one last thing before I step down, I do have a couple of citations here today. First for the captain, and I think I'm also going to be jumping the gun just a little bit here. I do have some citations for our Poppy Queens here as well. So what I have is a citation accompanying with a flag that's flown over the United States Capitol as well. Give me a second here.
It's always the third one.
It's always the third one. All right, here we go. Sorry for the delay. Here you go, sir.
Next, I'd ask Dennis Quinlick, who's representing both Representative Warren and Senator Cenicero. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dennis, and I'm with Representative Warren's office. And on behalf of Representative Warren and Senator Cenicero, we are presenting Mr. James Tolbert with a certificate of appreciation. Families, thank you for your sacrifices. Those who serve, thank you for your service. And Mr. Tolbert, thank you for your service.
Next up, Commander Smith and I will place a wreath to honor the dead. I'm now proud to introduce a valued member of our community, Mrs. Tarantino. Stephanie is a friend and supporter of VFW Post 6393. She is the wife of VFW 6393 Senior Vice Commander and Air Force veteran Vinnie Tarantino. Stephanie is a graduate of Temple University and the Delaware Law School. She is a partner with Obermeyer, Reedman, Maxwell, and Hipple, LLP. Stephanie and Vinnie are proud parents to Hayden, who's an Eagle Scout and a member of the of 6393 Scouting Venturing Crew. Stephanie will read the World War I poem by Canadian Doctor Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae in Flanders Field, as well as introducing today's Poppy Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Stephanie Tarantino.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here. I had the honor and privilege of also reading this poem last year. It's incredibly moving, and for those of you that haven't heard it, I urge you to look at it afterwards. It's worth reading several times. Whew. Okay, told you. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Now, on a little bit of a lighter note, I have the privilege and honor of introducing our two Poppy Queens this morning. The first is Emma Sabota, who is a good friend of mine. Emma is representing VFW Post 6393. Emma is the daughter of VFW Post Commander Kirk Sabota and his wife, Stephanie. Emma is a 5th grade student at Makefield Elementary School, and her extra activities include, get ready, Emma is part of the Lady Falcons Elite Basketball team. She's a member of the Bucks County Lacrosse team. She's a 2nd-year player in both. Emma is also part of Dynamics Gymnastics and is a level 4+ category. Emma also participated in the Makefield Elementary Drama Club. She appeared in The Little Mermaid and Newsies. Emma is in her 2nd year with the violin with Makefield Elementary Orchestra, and in her 4th year with Girl Scout Troop 20226 in Morrisville. Emma's hobbies include baking, art, rock climbing, skating and biking, and all things Swiftie. Emma comes from a long line of family veterans, and I think it's really important to note that I've had the honor of knowing the Sabota family for many years now. They're wonderful friends, and their passion and service to the community is clear and replete in their children. And I think I was so honored when I saw that Emma was receiving this award today. Emma's family of veterans include Paul Engel, World War II Naval Officer, Barney King, World War II Army Officer, Carl Sabota, World War II Marine, Carl Sabota Jr., Vietnam-era soldier, and her brother, Dylan Sabota, actively serving in the Iowa National Guard. Emma diligently worked with her mother and her brother Sam during the remodeling of VFW Post 6393. Escorting Emma to the monument is VFW Auxiliary President Sandy Johnson. Okay. All right, I'm going to introduce our second Poppy Queen, and then they'll both come up. All right. Also, a wonderful young lady with many achievements, representing American Legion Post 317 is Charlotte Carver. Charlotte is a 4th grade student at Quarry Hill Elementary. Charlotte is a Girl Scout junior in the Sandy Run unit. Charlotte is in the Quarry Hill Band, learning percussion, drums, and xylophone. Charlotte plays softball with Pennsbury Athletic Association. She is on the Math Olympiad team at Quarry Hill. Charlotte and her friends implemented the Quarry Hill Homeless Helpers. It's a committee collecting over 800 items for the Pennsbury Food Pantry and the Salvation Army. Charlotte was nominated for the Pennsbury Lift Character Award. Charlotte's hobbies include softball, Girl Scouts, and exercising her entrepreneurial spirit and developing her business, Kids Can Create. Charlotte is the oldest of 3 sisters. Born on May 28th, her birthday is usually on or near Memorial Day. Charlotte has attended our parade since she was 1 year old. Charlotte is the granddaughter of Pat and Rick Carver, a Marine veteran. She's the great niece of United States Navy veteran and Post 317 First Vice Commander Candace Carver. Escorting Charlotte to the monument is Post 317 Auxiliary President Diana Frisha. Please join me in applauding these wonderful young ladies.
Thank you, Ed. Officer of the firing squad, Sergeant Seldes, salute our dead. All rise. Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you to all. Next is the adjustment of our flag. Our flag is currently positioned to half-mast. Commander Smith and I will raise the flag and then lower it again to that position. We raise the flag to salute those we honor, and we lower it again as our signal of our continued reverence.
Howard. Hard. Order. Colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation in today's ceremony. I would all encourage you to participate if you can in the upcoming parade, and afterwards there is a luncheon as well as the American Legion is open. This concludes the ceremony. Thank you.
That was our Master of Ceremonies. Concluding today's ceremonies, VFW Commander Kirk M. Sabota. And it has been an honor here at WBCB to video stream live to the world this ceremony that starts Memorial Day. And today's events have been brought to you in part by the following people: Johnson Chiropractic Center at 175 South Main Street for one-on-one fitness training. Nottingham Insurance, family owned and run, an independent insurance agent featuring all types of insurance, including flood insurance here in Yardley. Kramer's Bakery, an institution in Yardley since 1946, where everything is baked fresh daily. It's open 7 days a week at 16 East Afton Avenue in Yardley. Also by Yardley Jewelers, a jewelry repair workshop and world-class designer jeweler here in Yardley. By Dave Wells at Yardley Family Hair Cutters, full-service barber shop. By FZ Works. This is a great event space for business or social. FZWorks.space. That's where you can find out more information or call them at 215-493-3160. Today's events have also been brought to you as a public service to the Yardley community by Captain Chucky's Crab Cake Company. Award-winning crab cakes and other seafood delicacies open Monday through Saturday here in Yardley. And of course, today's events have also been brought to you by Ship and Print here in Yardley. Ship and Print at 25 South Main Street in Yardley, Pennsylvania. Also at 1589 Big Oak Road in Yardley, complete printing and shipping services. And by Millie's Restaurant under new ownership at 75 South Main Street in Yardley. Open for breakfast and lunch weekdays 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. Saturdays 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. And as we get ready to close out, we'd like to speak with our Honorable Mayor here in Yardley, Chris Harding. And Chris, a very, very great speech, as you always give. And I imagine that in your 11 years of being mayor, some of the most greatest events are Carry the Load and this ceremony.
Bill, good to speak to you this morning, and welcome to Yardley Borough, everyone. You are absolutely right. This Memorial Day is always, to me as mayor, the biggest honor of each calendar year, and especially as someone who has no military service myself, for these veterans to allow me to have a few moments to say some words to the community and speak about loss and remembrance and sacrifice. I am honored every year when I wake up this day, and appreciate every opportunity they give me.
And of course, the day does not conclude without the parade, which
It
starts
does
when,
not.
at 11 o'clock?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we obviously do these ceremonies in the morning, and the parade is a great event that brings the community together. It starts at 11 a.m. and walks north to south through Yardley Borough, and it's going to be a beautiful day, it looks like. So we're asking everybody to come on out and cheer it on and have a good time.
Well, Mayor, thank you very, very much. You got your beautiful child and your beautiful wife with you. So
I do.
and
We're all here. And thank you to you and WBCB. Every year you guys are here, and it means the world to our community. So thank you very much, and have a great, safe day.
Thank you, Mayor. You too. Of course, you can listen to the mayor and the chief of police the third Tuesday of every month between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock right here at WBCB 1490 AM. Our thanks to Brianne O'Neill. Without her efforts, a lot of these events would not be able to be video streamed because she takes care of all the technical stuff. You can also go back and watch this on WBCB1490.com. Just go to the community events billboard and click it on. Or you can go to our YouTube page and watch today's ceremonies later in the day or in the upcoming weeks. It's youtube.com/WBCB1490. So on behalf of Brianne O'Neill and our sponsors, one more time, FC Works, Ship and Print, Millie's Restaurant, Yardley Jewelers, Yardley Family Haircutters, the Johnson Chiropractic Center, Captain Chucky's Crab Cake Company, Kramer's Bakery, and Nottingham Insurance, we bid you adieu and hope you have a great Memorial Day. Thank you very much.